You come into the world on something that feels both solid and fragile. The ice beneath your belly is hard, ridged, and bitterly cold, but the air that sweeps across it is warmer than it should be. Thin sunlight spills over a flat white plain broken by cracks and blue pools. Beside you, your mother is a heavy warm wall of blubber and muscle. Her fur mottled silver and dark. You, in contrast, are a small bundle of pure white fluff, barely a meter long, with black eyes that drink in every glare of light. The wind cuts at your damp fur, but her body shields you, and for a short time you believe that this harsh place is safe. You press your nose into her fur and smell salt, milk, and old ice. When she rolls onto her side and offers a teat, you latch on with surprising strength. Her milk is thick and heavy with fat. With every mouthful your soft body swells, building a layer of blubber that will become your only real coat of armor. Around you other mothers and pups dot the floe, a loose colony scattered across the drifting ice. The air is full of yelps, snorts, and the sharp barking calls of adults, mixed with the constant low grinding of ice against ice as floes bump and rub together. You cannot walk well. Your front flippers paddle clumsily and your back flippers drag, leaving narrow tracks on the crusted snow. You are made for swimming in a liquid world, not for climbing over frozen ridges. Yet for now you are trapped on top of the sea instead of inside it. You suckle, sleep, and occasionally blink at the glaring sky. The sun climbs higher each day and lingers longer, and the surface of the ice begins to change. Rough edges soften, snow turns to slush, and small brown pools appear where your mother once rested in the cold of the night. Predators are part of the world long before you truly understand them. Far at the edge of the floe, a dark shape moves on four legs, heavy and deliberate. A polar bear walks along a pressure ridge, nose lifted to test the air. You hear alarm calls from other adults and feel your mother tense. She positions herself between you and the bear, head high, body angled to flee toward open water if the animal comes closer. Today the bear chooses a different direction, following a richer smell. Its distant white back disappears behind blocks of shattered ice. You do not have words for relief or luck, but your tiny heart slows, and you burrow deeper into your mother's shadow. You are 1 week old now. Your body is rounder, and beneath your long white fur the first hints of gray guard hairs wait to appear. Your mother has given you nearly all she can. Harp seal mothers do not stay long. Every day she grows thinner while you grow heavier. Her ribs begin to show beneath her fur. She needs to leave to feed, to rebuild her strength before the pack ice melts away. One bright day, after another long drink, she shifts her weight, noses you once on the face, and then slides toward a crack in the ice. With a swift movement she disappears into the water, leaving only a swirl of snow dust and the echo of her call. You call after her with your thin voice, a high cry that carries over the ice. No answer comes. The other mothers are already leaving as well, vanishing into black water with hardly a splash. One by one the full-grown bodies are gone, and the ice field becomes an orphanage. Pups lie scattered like clumps of fallen cloud, each one blinking, calling, and turning in small circles. The sky is open and blue. The ice is no longer a nursery. It is a test. Your stomach still feels heavy from the last feeding, but hunger is already waiting in the background, patient and steady, like the slow strain of waves under the floe. Days pass in a mixture of hunger, cold, and awkward exploration. Without your mother pressed against you, the wind feels sharper. Your white fur, which made you adorable in the eyes of distant humans, is now a poor disguise against a surface that is turning gray and wet. You drag yourself across slush and wind-carved ridges, sometimes slipping into shallow melt pools that soak your coat. The water seeping through the fur steals heat from your skin. You shiver and shake, sending droplets flying into the air, and then search for a patch of drier ice where you can curl up into yourself and wait for a sun that is both friend and enemy. Around you, the colony changes. Some pups wander too close to weak edges and vanish with a sudden splash. Others lie still, their bodies thin, eyes dull, unable to rise when the wind picks up. Gulls circle overhead, crying sharply, waiting for their moment. The smell of salt is occasionally cut by the metallic tang of blood when a fox or bear finds an easy meal. You learn, without thinking about it, to be suspicious of silence. When calls and movement stop in one part of the flow, you change direction. Danger and emptiness feel very similar here. You are driven to the edge of the ice by instinct and by necessity. Hunger digs deep now. The heavy belly that once felt like security is shrinking. The layer of blubber that your mother labored to build begins to thin. Your body knows that this cannot continue. The ocean is no longer just a dark border at the limit of your world. It is the only place where food exists. You stare at the black water, broken by shards of ice and foam. The surface heaves gently. You have never been fully in it, only brushed by its spray. Yet your front flippers itch to move in a new way, and your lungs feel tight and eager. The first plunge is not graceful. You slide forward on your belly, hesitate, then drop into the water with an ungainly splash. For a heartbeat, the cold is a hammer, crushing every thought. It grabs at your skin, your whiskers, your eyes. Then something clicks into place. Your body becomes suddenly correct. Your flippers, so clumsy on ice, pull with powerful strokes. You angle your body and feel the water flow over smooth fur that now lies flat and slick. You are no longer dragging yourself across a world. You are moving through it as if you belong here. Because you do. Under the ice, the sounds are different. The roar of wind becomes a distant, muted sigh. Cracks in the ice above you glow turquoise, threading like veins through a dim ceiling. Your pulse drums in your ears as you paddle forward, learning to steer with your hind flippers. Small fish flicker at the edge of your vision. You lunge at them and miss, jaws closing on empty water. Your body knows the shape of the movement but not yet the timing. You return to the surface through a narrow gap, bursting out with a gasp of air, whiskers dripping, and haul yourself awkwardly back onto the ice to rest. You repeat the dive again and again. The first successful catch seems almost accidental. A silvery fish that fails to dodge at the right moment. Your teeth close around soft flesh. The reward is immediate and electric. Fat and protein pour down your throat, and you feel strength like a returning tide. You improve quickly. Seals are not born knowing how to hunt, but they learn fast or they do not live long. Soon you move through the water with more assurance, twisting and rolling after small fish, snapping them from schools that scatter in panic at your approach. You are 1 year old now. You have molted your fluffy white coat and wear smooth silver-gray fur patterned with harp-shaped markings along your back. The ice beneath you is thinner than it was when you were a pup. Breakup comes earlier. Long leads of open water snake between flows, and you follow the shifting edges, hauling out on fragments when you need to rest or warm your body in weak sunlight. Other young seals travel near you. You are not a tightly bonded group, but you mirror each other's movements, following currents that carry you toward richer feeding grounds. Your enemies have changed, but they have not become fewer. In the water, killer whales patrol the edges of the pack ice, black and white bodies slicing through the sea with deliberate grace. Their eyes scan for silhouettes near breathing holes. When you surface, you do so with quick, cautious motions. Head first, whiskers flaring to detect any pressure wave that signals a predator. On the ice, polar bears still search for seals hauled out and distracted. Their pale fur blends with the snow when the world is white. But now more often their outlines show clearly against gray slush and bare rock. A sign of seasons that are not what they used to be. You learn the habits of ice itself. Thick multi-year flows provide solid platforms where you can rest and mold. Thin first-year ice groans and buckles under your weight, opening suddenly into cracks that can trap you or expose you to hunters. Sometimes storms come earlier, ripping the pack apart before you are ready to move on. You are forced to travel farther in search of reliable flows. You spend more time swimming in open water and less time resting on stable ice. Your body can handle the cold, but every hour spent moving is another slice cut out of your energy reserves. As you mature, your life gains new patterns. Each year you migrate with the pack ice, following the front as it advances and retreats with the seasons. You dive deeper now, sometimes to 100 meters or more, chasing dense schools of fish or clouds of shrimp like krill. Your lungs compress, your heart rate slows, and oxygen stored in your blood and muscles keeps you going through long cold descents. You move through dark green water where sunlight barely reaches, navigating by memory and by the feel of currents against your whiskers. You are 5 years old. You are an adult, lean and strong, nearly 2 meters long and weighing many times your birth mass. When spring comes, you return to breeding areas on the pack ice. The place where you were born may no longer exist as a solid floe, but similar patches of ice form in new combinations over the same cold sea. Males around you call and posture. Females, including you, search for flat, stable surfaces where pups might survive at least a few weeks. The problem is that true stability is rare now. Milk pools spread quickly, edges crumble. Some seals haul out on what is available and hope that it will last long enough. When you give birth for the first time, the feeling is familiar and strange all at once. Your pup slides onto the ice, small and white and blinking against the glare. You nuzzle it, pushing away the thin membrane that clings to its fur. The smell is sharp and new. Your body responds with a rush of milk production and a flood of protective instinct. You plant yourself between your pup and the open water, head high, scanning for threats. For days you nurse almost without rest, turning thick reserves of body fat into rich milk that pours into the tiny mouth. You feel yourself shrinking while your pup swells into a round, shining bundle of life. Yet the ice betrays you both. Warm winds and strange rain showers eat away at the flow. Cracks open in patterns that even your experienced instincts cannot fully predict. One night, as the temperature stays above freezing and the sky glows with diffuse cloud light, a sharp crack splits the platform where you lie. The flow divides, one piece carrying you and another carrying your pup. The gap widens into a channel of dark water. Your pup calls, high and shrill, paws scraping at the edge. You slide into the water and try to reach it from below, but the flows drift and rotate under the push of hidden currents. For a long time you circle, surfacing again and again to search for a path. In the end you reach a different edge, but not the one where your pup lies. The flow with your pup is already moving away faster than your tired muscles can chase. You hear its calls for a while, then only wind. Perhaps the ice will bring it near another adult. Perhaps it will be found by a predator first. The ocean is not interested in fairness. You haul yourself back onto what remains of your own flow, skin burning with cold and exhaustion. And you rest because there is no other choice. The next season, if you live to see it, you will try again. In your world, grief cannot be a luxury that lasts. Years cycle like this. You migrate, feed, molt, and, when conditions allow, give birth. Some pups survive and learn to dive, their white fur replaced by sleek gray. Others vanish into water or teeth or hunger. Each year the ice is a little thinner, a little more fractured. Haul-out sites become crowded as more seals compete for fewer stable platforms. Sometimes you must share a small floe with many others. Bodies packed close together. When a polar bear arrives, panic erupts. Seals scramble for the edges and throw themselves into the water. Splashes echoing in the cold air. A few are caught. You hope, each time, that it is not you. You are 12 years old now. Your fur is still smooth, but scars cross your body where teeth, claws, and broken ice have left their marks. Your movements are efficient rather than exuberant. You dive to the right depths without wasting energy. You choose feeding grounds based on experience, returning again and again to underwater ridges that funnel fish into tight clusters. You avoid heavily trafficked shipping lanes where noise and pollution churn the water and drown out the subtle cues you use to find prey. Your hearing is not as sharp as it used to be, but it still tells you where the world is changing in ways that matter. In recent winters, the pack ice forms later. You spend more time in the water searching for a solid place to rest. Your blubber keeps you warm, but the constant movement drains your reserves. When you finally find a floe large enough to support you, you haul out with a sigh that emerges as a white cloud in the frigid air. The ice is slick, streaked with melt lines that have frozen and thawed repeatedly, creating a surface like rough glass in some places and thin crust in others. You lie on your side and feel the subtle vibrations of distant waves transmitted through the ice sheet. Reminders that your bed is actually a thin skin over deep water. One year, during the late spring migration, you misjudge the safety of a familiar area. The ice that once formed a broad platform there is now broken into many smaller pieces separated by wide lanes of open sea. You pause at a breathing hole, taking quick gasps of air, and as you surface a shadow appears below. An orca rises in a burst of power, its white underside flashing. You twist away at the last moment, the whale's jaws snapping shut where your body was a heartbeat earlier. The force of the lunge throws a wave of water over you, and you are shoved onto a nearby chunk of ice, chest heaving. You escape that time, but the encounter leaves a deep gouge in your hind flipper where teeth grazed it. The wound heals slowly, leaving a stiff scarred patch that makes your kicks slightly uneven. Long dives tire you more than they used to. You adapt by staying in shallower areas and choosing easier prey. Instead of chasing the fastest fish, you focus on slower ones, or on crustaceans you can dig from the mud at the bottom of shallow bays. You live by changing your habits again and again to match a world that never stays still. You are over 20 years old now. Old for a seal. Your teeth are worn, their edges dulled from years of crunching shells and gripping slippery fish. Your eyesight is not perfect, especially in low light, and your reactions are not quite as quick. When you haul out on the ice, you rise slowly and lower yourself carefully, joints stiff from countless dives. Younger seals move around you with the restless energy you once had. You follow their paths when it suits you and let them chase the best fish, conserving your strength for days when you really need to move. One autumn, storms arrive earlier and more violently than before. Vast sections of the pack ice are smashed and driven into strange piles. You are caught on a small floe when a gale begins. Waves lift and drop the ice like a toy. You slide into the water to avoid being thrown, but the sea itself is chaos. Foam and crushed ice churn around you. You swim, but there is no clear direction that promises safety. Every floe shifts, collides, and breaks. The cold that you have endured all your life feels different now. Sharper, biting through blubber and fur as if it resents your long survival. When the storm finally eases, the world has changed again. The floe you have clung to is small and low, barely rising above the water. It will not last long. You lie there, sides heaving, and gaze at a horizon filled mostly with open sea and scattered remnants of what once was a continuous sheet. There are still places where seals can live. There are still younger bodies better adapted to the new patterns. For you, each decision comes with a cost you are less able to pay. Your final day is quiet. There is no dramatic chase, no sudden strike from below. You simply misjudge the distance between two shrinking floes and expend more energy than you have left crossing the gap. You reach the second piece of ice but cannot pull yourself fully onto it. Your chest rests on the edge while your hindquarters hang in the water. You try again, muscles trembling, and manage to slide onto the surface. But the effort leaves your lungs burning and your heart pounding. You rest, but the chill inside is deeper than anything the sun can touch. Eventually your breaths grow slower. Your body cools. Your eyes, which have watched ice and water for decades, stare at a sky stained pink by the low sun. When your heart stops, the ice does not pause. Wind pushes your floe onward. Gulls will find you, and later the sea will take what remains. Somewhere not far away, new pups lie on different patches of melting ice, crying for mothers that must soon leave to feed. They will face bears, whales, storms, and gaps in the ice that widen every year. In a world of shifting floes, you are one life in a long, uncertain chain. Life as a seal born on melting ice is cold, restless, and quietly unfair. A struggle against a moving world that never really lets you rest.